Hi, I'm Kim Johnson. I've been an educator for almost 2 decades. I teach English language arts. I've taught social studies. I also teach at Spalding University, where I teach counselors and teachers. And I've taught at other colleges English and ethics. So I've taught multiple things.
Nice.
And she's also been a counselor.
I am no longer a member of JCTA. For the 18-19 school year, the 19-20 school year, I was a school counselor. And I spoke up on behalf of Black students. There was actually a white teacher who was calling Black students monkeys, dummies, and little shits. And she was verbally and emotionally and psychologically abusing students. And I contacted Child Protective Services. And of course, I had to tell the principal that I contacted Child Protective Services on this teacher. And this teacher used JCTA to come after me. And what they did was, they said that I changed her work hours and work duties. They lied on a grievance. I had no authority as the school counselor to change your work hours and duties. So they brought up this whole falsified grievance against me, and they went after me. And not only that, they kept pressuring the principal to get rid of me, or else they were going to file a grievance against the principal. And so she eventually just lied and falsified some write-ups, and I was demoted. And the union rep actually told teachers at a transfer meeting that I was a horrible person and not to go to that school, and like defamed my name, all because I was standing up for Black kids. So JCTA will never get another dime from me. And I mean that.
All right, Ms.
Because they are not for the most vulnerable people, which are little kids,
right,
little Black kids,
right,
against teachers, white teachers.
right.
How can you, in good conscience, stand up for these people and allow them to abuse somebody's child? It just baffles me that this is the type of stuff that they're doing. And I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry. I got a little bit emotional. They would never get another dime from me.
You say never, Kim. Miss Dr. Mucker, I hate to hear you say never, because I think we are on the verge of, if we take the right action, we can, I feel like we're in a position right now to force JCTA to commit to real change moving forward. And as long as we continue to disregard Black lives, I agree with you. But I think we're in a position we can call for and change that's needed, that is going to guide a future that centers Black lives.
Well, okay. I would say if real change happened, not just with Brent McKim, but with some of the other people that have had a hand in ensuring that these murderers of kids murder in the mindset of their spirit and their psychological and emotional well-being, if all of these people are removed and replaced with people with integrity and who are really for the kids, then I will consider. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
That's got to be our goal. And I'm going to get back to you. It's not going to happen in 30 days, that's for sure. But there's definitely a retaliatory culture that we have in place. I think it connects with unlimited terms.
The threat of your professional reputation, the threat of having your name blackballed in various ways, shapes, and forms is real.
Amen.
And And I would just, and people really have to think is, are they willing to do that or not? Because you have to, I mean, the sacrifice is high, but I paid union dues for 17 years. I was in the union for 17 years and paid almost $1,000 a year for 17 years. And
Paid for 43 years. I get it.
and I became a school counselor. And at that point, I could not be in the union anymore. And so I was a school administrator as a school counselor, and I saw things because once you leave the classroom, you know what's going on in your classroom or with your classes, but you don't know what's going on in the whole school. And as a school counselor, you see a whole school picture. You have a whole school view. And so I saw Black kids being mistreated. And what I mean by mistreated is I saw and heard them being called names. I saw and heard them being verbally abused by teachers. I saw and heard them having to sit in isolation in a cafeteria. And some of these things are even walking a track in 97-degree weather, and you're a kindergartner without any extra water as a punishment every single day. So I saw these things and I reported these things not only to my school principal, but also to Child Protective Services, and nothing was done. In fact, the union went against me because the teacher who I had to report, she found out I was the one that reported her. And so the union protected her. And I ended up having to get an outside attorney to represent me, having to pay out of my pocket for representation because the district did not even help me. And we're supposed to be here for the kids. Yeah. And we talk this language of protecting the kids. And these are our kids, but yet they're being allowed to do whatever, and with union and district protection. Unacceptable. That is unacceptable. So they were able to get me demoted back to a teacher, and I refuse to join the union again. I refuse. Because I've seen what they do, and they're not getting my $1,000 a year to do that.
Yeah.
No, they pick and choose who they want to help. That's the problem too, is that they were probably under, like the district wanted them to do this, that, and concerning you. And because I've seen how they work, and that's exactly how they work, was they make deals with the district about who they're going to represent and what, like, okay, we're going to help you get that person out of there, but you all need to do this for us, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way they do it. And it's not right. And I can't stand it. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here.
They even drew up false grievances. And what I mean by false grievances is they said that I changed the teacher's workload, which is a violation of the union and the district's agreement. Well, as a school counselor, I am not her direct supervisor, and I have no authority to change her workload. So they completed grievances that were total lies. And then they would ask me to come to meetings, and I will, of course, bring my attorney. And when my attorney and I showed up at the meeting, they would wait till everybody sitting at the table and say, "Who's that?" My attorney. We did this like 3 or 4 times. And so then they'll say, "Well, we're not meeting with your attorney here. You can meet by yourself, but not with your attorney." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna have representation." And so then they'll say, "Well, we're not having a meeting, just sign this grievance." Well, where am I gonna sign the grievance? What am I signing the grievance for? There's nowhere on there for my signature. And so they just wanted me to sign the grievance so they could say, okay, she agreed with what was on the grievance. These fake grievances.
They tell you, oh, it doesn't mean you agree. It just means that you read it. And I'm like, no, BS.
No. I told them I acknowledged in an email that I had received it. So there's no need for me to sign it.
Right.
So that's the kind of games they play. But
You're not an isolated case, because one of the teachers at my school called CPS on the assistant principal, and forget it, she doesn't teach there anymore.
wow.
No,
But
it's
yet
like,
we're bound by law to call
Yeah.
CPS.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to be, I have sacrificed my promotion. I'm back in the classroom and I'm enjoying myself in the classroom.
Well, the sad part about it is, to me, in general, and when it gets down to specific instance, whatever, is that if teachers think, I used to preach all the time, you don't want to be out there alone. If something happens, you need a lawyer. You don't want to lose your house. You need to belong to JCTA, blah, blah, blah. But the sad part is that a lot of teachers think that they are represented by JCTA, and they are sadly mistaken.
Mm.
And I never thought I'd feel that way about it, as much as I was involved in it. But it's too stale. The leadership's too stale. We need a new vision.
And it's so traumatic to have that happen over and over and over again when you're just trying to do what's best for kids and democracy. When people cause harm, whether it's intentional or not, when they cause harm and you bring it to their attention, just like Dr. Johnson's story, if they're not stopping and asking, how can I do better, then they're not on the right side. And these union leaders are not asking how they can do better.
I'm good because I know that I'm going to be on the right side of history. And I know that I did right for kids. At the end of the day, I'm good.